morning everyone. Good morning ma'am. Good morning classmates. I will introduce you my topic, which is evolutionary science and philosophy. Um, Let us know what is evolutionary science and philosophy. Uh, Darwin's publication steered the intellectual history of humanity in a new direction. The Darwinian Revolution, they completed the Copernican Revolution. It was initiated by 3 centuries before it radically changed the perception of humans of their place in the universe. According to Darwin's theory, the Darwin's theory a has great impact to the humanity direction. So it was discussed by my group mates, the Darwin's theory. Will if you will see the video, you will understand the Darwinian story. So it was initiated by 3 centuries before it's changed the perception of humans of their place in the universe. So Darwin's theory, biological evolution, also known as Darwinism, paved way not only development of evolutionary biology, but also served the foundation of the philosophy of biology. So basically, the Darwin's theory, it becomes a biological evolution, which is also known as Darwinism. So it is also served as the foundation of the philosophy of biology. And now we are going to the evolutionary biology. So as we know, the foundation of philosophy of biology, we are going to evolutionary of the biology. So evolutionary biology, it has something to do with the origin of life. So if you will ask or questions about where we came, it could be natural selection, or it could be in religious belief. So in science, we are discussed by our ancestors, our ancestors, that we came to apes. So that's the Charles Darwin theory. So after the Darwinian Revolution, several fields of biological research such as genetics, paleontology, taxonomy, and ecology has came to be understood and to be related. So after the Darwinian theory, there are several of biological research in terms of life, such as genetics. All these genes are in the current, as we know, paleontology, taxonomy, ecology. This has been understood and to be related into Darwin Revolution. So it was Julian Huxley, leading figure in the 20th century of the field of evolution of biology. So let us know who is Julian Huxley. Who is Julian Huxley? Let us know who he is. He coined such a relationship into a term called modern synthesis, or otherwise neo-Darwinism. So Sir Julian Sorel Huxley, born on June 22, 1887, died on February 1975. So there he is, the picture of Julian Huxley. Now we are going to Darwin's theory of evolution, which Gregor Mendel had ideas on heredity into a joint framework. Darwin and Mendel, they published their work at the same time. So Darwin's and Gregor Mendel, their work, they published it they published it with the same time. So Mendel is very religious. He didn't believe in evolution, but Darwin didn't read the genetic research. So eventually they disagree both their theories. That's the easiest way to explain. So in several differences between modern synthesis and Darwin's revolution exist. So there are several differences of their theories. During 1930s to 1940s, scientists supported the modern synthesis, recognized the mechanism of natural selection. So in this era, 1930s to 40s, there are a lot of scientists who supported modern synthesis, which is created by Julian Huxley. So, and the scientist was able to explain which Darwin failed to address. So the scientists in this era or the 20th century was able to explain, which is Darwin's did not explain or failed to address. So we are going to philosophy of biology. It is a branch of philosophy of science that has something to do in life or biology. So again, it has something. The philosophy of biology is a part of a or branch of philosophy of science, and it has something to do in life or biology. So it makes more relevant to a classic issues in the field of philosophy in science, such as causation and explanation. So causation, cause and effect, and we will explain about the philosophy of science. So it emerged as an independent field of philosophy between 1960s to 1970s. So take note of the 1960s and 70s. This is very important thing to take note. Most of the scientists are paid attention to neo-Darwinism and the discovery of DNA structure. So most of the scientists they are really giving attention to the neo-Darwinism and the discovery of DNA structure. So it has very great impact up to now because scientists are very paying attention on this matter. So we are going to Freudian revolution, pre-Freudian psychology. It's all about the human mind and behavior. So according to Freud, it can be traced back in the early civilization, Greece, Persia, Egypt, as well as Asia. So philosophy did not emerge until the late 1870s in Germany and eventually developed. So during 1870s, the Germany was eventually to develop the philosophy or psychology. So we are going to there are many scientists, philosophers, or about the psychological research and conduct experimental studies. So the Wilhelm Wundt is a first he is the first founded the first laboratory, and it's dedicated to psychological research and conducted experimental studies. So Wilhelm Wundt he is the first who found the laboratory, and it's dedicated to uses for the psychological research and conducted experimental studies. So Hermann Ebbinghaus, he plays role about memory. William James is all about pragmatism or practical, which is we've been discussed this in other subjects. So we have here also Ivan Pavlov, classical conditioning. It has been discussed our teachers. So these are the psychologists in the early of development. So what I've mentioned, those are the psychologists in the early development of psychology as a field of science. So they inherit this, the psychological research, in the 17th century philosopher, which is René Descartes. So who is René Descartes? Let us know who is René Descartes. René Descartes was a French philosopher, scientist, and mathematician born on March 31, 1956, died February 11, 1650. Widely considered seminal figure in the emergence of modern philosophy and science. Mathematics was paramount to his method and inquiry, and he connected the previously separate fields of geometry and algebra into analytic geometry. So let us know further about René Descartes. So that is the picture of René Descartes. And also he is known as Cartesian paradigm. Consists of two components, the mind-mind problem. So the mind-mind problem is a view of mind relation to itself. So mind to mind, the problem. So there are two components, which is the mind-mind problem and the mind-body problem. The mind-body problem, view of the mind in relation to the body, because he said that the humans are immediately aware of the cognitive state process of necessity. So in here, the mind-body problem, we are all immediately aware about cognitive process into our mind, because what we are doing, what we are thinking now, the response of our body is through to our mind. So that's the easiest way to explain about the mind-body problem. So in the 19th century, Cartesian paradigm came under pressure due to the brain lesion. So there are many problems or issues about brain lesion. So Charles Darwin said that every aspect of humans, including their mental capacities, evolved in response to physical selection. Process has already gained acceptance. So according to Charles Darwin, that every aspects of humans, including our cognitive and mental capacities, it has been evolved to physical selections, which is, he explains about this, about natural selection. So it has already gained acceptance. This is not only doubtful Cartesian thought and arguing for the concept of unconscious. So we are going to Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud rose to fame unconventional stance at the time that all cognitive processes are unconscious. So according to Freud, its radical view has sparked the change in how humans understand and think about themselves. So Freud's he has a view about humans understand and think about themselves. So let us know first who is Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud, 1856 to 1939, neurologist and father of psychoanalysis. So he interested in laboratory work concerning biological and anatomical subject. But he shifted his interest in microscopic studies to living patients, because Freud he really paid attention to the studies of living patients. So in his first decade, or his young neurologist, he accepted the philosophical assumption regarding the mind and body, which is discussed by René Descartes. So he studied in case of observation on different mental illnesses. Kasi si Sigmund Freud po ay isang psychology. He was experts about the mental illnesses. So he studies in case of observation of different mental illnesses led him to his magnum opus, Psychoanalysis. So this is a book that he wrote, a book detailed the methodology of treating mental illnesses, which earned him a title of Father Psychoanalysis. So remember, Sigmund Freud, he is a father of psychoanalysis. The book he wrote is Magnum Opus Psychoanalysis. So take note of that, because it will include to the quiz. So Sigmund Freud didn't exactly invent the idea of conscious versus unconscious mind, but he certainly was responsible for making it popular. So according to the book, Sigmund Freud did not invent the idea of conscious versus unconscious mind, pero siya po ang responsible para maging popular ang contribution to ang unconscious and unconscious para sa psychology. So Freud 1900 to 1905 developed a topographical model of the mind describing the features of the mind structure and function. So according to Freud, in this era 1900 to 1905, he was developed a describing features in the mind structures function. So let us see what is the structure and functions. Freud used the analogy of iceberg to describe the three levels of the mind: conscious, preconscious, and unconscious. According to Freud, our mind is parang iceberg. So at the top of the iceberg, this, as we can see, this is the conscious mind. So what is the conscious mind? Conscious mind is the present of what we are thinking. According to him, conscious mind in Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory personality, the conscious mind consists of everything within our awareness. So kung ano yung aware natin sa ngayon, we are within our mind, that is conscious mind. So let us deep further about the preconscious mind. preconscious mind, one may not be thinking conscious of his address but readily recalls it when asked. So, preconscious mind, basically, we will understand that this is not surround to conscious, or hindi natin agad maisip, but kung iisipin natin, it will readily recalls it when asked. So, kapag tayo ay tinanong kung sino yung first president of the Philippines, hindi natin aware, but we are readily recall it. So sasabihin agad natin Emilio Aguinaldo. That is the first president of our Philippines. So the unconscious mind is Sigmund Freud believed that the human conscious mind stores all the thoughts, memories, and feelings that are disturbing or traumatic. So unconscious mind, this is very basic to understand, because all of the stores of thoughts, memories, feelings nandito sa unconscious mind. This is where we stored all of the traumatic events or feelings, any that kind of that inner unconscious mind. This will be deposit here. So I will repeat again. There are, according to Sigmund Freud, there are 3 levels of mind, which is the conscious mind, preconscious mind, and unconscious mind. That's it. So we are going to eventually, and according to him or Freud, there are 2 conflicting instincts, which is eros, which refers to survival instinct, evolved basic hunger, thirst, and sexual impulses. So eros basically mean it is referred to survival instinct, kung paano tayo makasurvive, involving here the basic hunger, paggutom, thirst, and sexual impulses. Ibig sabihin, pag-iinom ng tubig, ito ay ang mga isa sa survival instinct natin, na kung paano tayo ma-survive in our daily needs. So sexual impulses, alam naman natin kung anong sexual impulses. So and the one is thanatos. It refers to aggressive and self-destructive instinct driven toward it. So this is very common to think or common to tell. It refers to aggressive and self-destructive. So if we understand it self-destructive, it is very complex to understand. It driven toward death. So through this time, he summarized that humans are motivated to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So according to Sigmund Freud, that humans are very interested, or every individual person are very interested to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So totoo naman, which is we experience it in our daily living in this world. He continued to develop multiple theories, including structure of personality. So structure of personality, it describes how people act according to different system of personality. So sabi nga so Sigmund Freud, he developed multiple theories. So maraming theories na develop niya, but one of the theories here is the structure of personality. So ano nga ba itong structure of personality? According to him, it is a different system of personality. That human personality is very complex. So mahirap intindihin yung personalidad ng tao. At saka it composed of 3 structures again, known as the id, ego, and superego. So let us go for these 3 structures. Id, it is a basic instinct and desire seeking immediate gratification. So what is immediate gratification? Kung anong mga desires natin na gusto natin agad-agaran, which is kung anong iniisip natin. We are thinking of, ay gusto kong kumain, so kakain tayo. Hanapin natin immediate gratification, yung wala nang pag-iisipan. So we are go to ego. It is a guided by reality, balances the id impulses with social norms. So it is known as a referee itong si ego, according to Sigmund Freud. So, the ego, guided by reality. Let us go to the superego. Is our moral conscience pushing up to follow ethical standards together they shape our behavior and personality. The superego is a moral conscience pushing up to follow ethical standards. So we are also known about the ethical standards, which is related to moral ng isang tao, which is we are aware of doing good and doing bad. And superego, we are following the ethical standards together they shape our behavior, personality. So ang superego ay the deep understanding of this, the superego, it shapes our behavior and personality about the moral conscience and the as we follow the ethical standards. So let us know about the four psychologists or scientists. So let us know first Carl Jung. Who is Carl Jung? Known for analytical psychology branch of psychotherapy, was an early supporter of Freud because their shared belief in the unconscious. So Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, they shared belief in the unconscious thoughts, and also disagreed on Freud on the role of sexuality in personality. So Carl Jung disagreed on Freud of the role of sexuality in personality and introduced the concept of collective consciousness. And now he was also coined the terms introvert and extrovert. So Carl Jung is known as analytical psychology. It is a branch of psychotherapy also. In early supporter of Freud, Carl Jung was an early supporter of Sigmund Freud. So that's the information about Carl Jung. Now let us talk about Alfred Adler. Who is Alfred Adler? So Freud and Adler, and they worked together, and also he developed, as we know, the individual psychology. This is Alfred Adler's own method called individual psychology, using a holistic approach to study a person's character. Adler's method considers person's environment as well as the people he or she interacts make extremely relevant in the 20th century counseling psychiatric strategies. So basically, Adler's approach, the method of considers person, environment as well as the people, or how he interact, extremely relevant in the 20th century counseling psychiatric strategies. Now we are going to Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson accepted Freud's psychosexual theory, but he modified. So ano nga ba yung binago niya? Kasi kay Sigmund Freud is psychosexual theory, but he modified a psychosocial theory because Freud believed that the personality only takes during childhood, but according to Erik Erikson, there are stages of development in that there is psychosocial tasks a person must master to feel a sense of competence. So Erik Erikson, known for coining the term identity crisis. So he coining the term identity crisis. Take note of that. Now we are going to Erik